But finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the first game of the evening with UoL9 taking on University of Derby.
Derby, yeah. It's Dora's
Derby.
Daddies from
I'm not
Derby.
even close.
It's Dora's Daddies from Derby.
Dora's Daddies from Derby. That's a hell of a name for a TV show, by the way.
So we're already a couple bands in. We see it's the Oriana and the Nidalee a ban away from Trillip makes sense. That's one of his best picks. I can imagine we might see a Lee Sin ban as well if Casper is that uncomfortable. When you see a guy with the tag Rats, that does generally indicate you should probably ban Twitch, so that's a safe ban for the side of UoL9.
Yeah, just a little bit here. And of course, as you said, Nidalee did a very good ban. So I'm looking towards the second one. Looks like it's going to be an Aurelia taken away from Billy in the mid lane, because I'm not seeing a lot of Aurelia for the Fat Boy in the top lane. So they might want to try. Yeah, plus Aurelia is broken.
Yep, Aurelia's pretty insane right now. Even if you have a rough laning phase, you can turn up after throwing down one ultimate in a team fight. The disarm is so good. The 2-second disarm is ridiculous. And that's the Talia jungle ban finally away. Talia, what I like to describe her as is generally a control mage version of Nidalee, because Nidalee is much more of an assassin, whereas both of the champions are based around clearing quickly in the early game and using your pathing effectively to punish the enemy jungler. It's all about being the smartest pathing jungler, and that's why I compare the two.
Yeah, exactly. And third ban going to be coming out from the side of the University of Derby is going to be that Echo as well. That's going to be another split push champion taken away from Billy in the mid lane. I'm very excited to see what is going to be the pick here for Billy, but looks like they're going to be picking the Rakan here in the bottom lane for Olympic Drummer. With 58 games played, 68% win rate, hell yeah, you want him on the Rakan.
See, it's never worth trying to predict the null drafts, because in theory, you just go, okay, there's a Rakan first pick. We just pick Xayah Alistair. We get the best support and the best AD carry right now, and then we're set. But nope, this is the null. We get Jace first rotation.
It's like, this isn't Worlds. We don't do our homework.
Yep.
We wing it.
We're going to probably see Elise in this game from Trillip, though. We're going to assume that he wants to go for an aggressive jungle matchup and punish, because that's generally been his strength in the past, where he likes to go in hard and get into the face of the enemy junglers. So that's going to be one of UoL9's win conditions. Beely should be the superior mid as well, so generally the jungle mid synergy needs to be on point. These are two players who have been around the UK scene for a long time, so they should at least have some synergy and be aware of each other.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what the pick here is going to be for the side of UoL9. If they're going to pick a jungler, looks like, as you said, you did call it Lee Sin, so they need that early aggression for Trillip in the jungle. But are they going to pick up that Xayah in the bottom lane?
Honestly, the AD carry pool is completely up in the air right now. There's a lot available, and people are playing pretty much everything. It's honestly one of these really weird metas where in solo queue, you can pretty much play any AD carry and get away with it, and that's why we see the Caitlyn coming out. Caitlyn Rakan, that's a really nice lane to push dominance if you feel you are the better AD carry. You feel like they don't really have any picks that can step up to you. So generally at this point, what you'd want to see as an AD carry is I go, it's Caitlyn, what do I go? I have to go Varus or Ashe to be able to do decently in the lane. Varus having large attack range, using his Q to help wave clear, and Ashe using her volley to outrange Caitlyn and pressure her out. So generally that's what you want to do. And I like this from Casper, though. He's buying into that early game jungle 1v1.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to be able to get that Xin Zhao, match Trillip in the jungle, so he can try basically just counter jungle whenever he gets the chance and just have the exact same pressure that Trillip would have on that Lee Sin. And just to talk a little bit more about the Caitlyn pick for Patrick Star while we wait for the other bans to come in, Patrick Star doesn't seem to me like one of the AD carry kind of main playing players, really, I want to say. Because I'm looking at this champion pool, he mainly plays the likes of Caitlyn, Sivir, Misfortune, Jinx. So he's just trying to fill in the spot for his team. So the bottom side of the map could be one of the focuses for the University of Derby here, if they want to try and get a foothold in the game later on.
I think Caitlyn controls the game well enough to be able to deny that, and they can ban out the harder laning AD carries, as they're doing here. But I think what Derby need to do is they need to ban out flexible picks. So that's why they've gone for the Aatrox here. If you've got a pick that both Beely and the Fat Boy would be able to play, get it off the board, because if you can rotate two picks that are flexible in the final two picks of draft, then that completely negates the red side counter pick as the fifth pick. You completely negate the ability for Luna or Fist to get a better matchup, because you can simply flex around it. It becomes that much harder. And that's why the Urgot and Aatrox, of course, are banned away. Those are the two most flexible top lane and mid lane picks right now.
Yeah, exactly. And just their influence later on as they progress more and more into the game can just be very, very difficult to deal with. So they want to take that off the board and away from UoL9 here. But we're going to be getting the final ban. Might be, again, focused towards that bottom side of the map. They might ban another
Yep.
AD carry. Looks like it is going to be the Tristana taken away from Faves.
They banned both of the better leaning AD carries rather than going for the matchups that are very traditional, like the Varus and Ashe. They go for the more meta, push bot, win bot lanes, and so they're forcing Rat onto something really uncomfortable. And I think he needs to lock in the ADC here, so he saved mid or top for last pick. Jace still flexible.
Yeah, it could be flex, but it is going to be the Xayah picked up here for Fabes in the bottom lane. So the lovers on opposite sides of the rift this time around. But let's see what UoL9 are going to be picking for the last two picks here.
It's the most meta remaining. It's the most meta remaining AD carry, so they're going to go for that.
Yeah, looks like Sion might be the last pick up here for the Fat Boy in the top lane. So they're going to have that tank, that juggernaut.
I mean, technically, it's a flex pick still, technically, but I don't expect Beely to be pulling this out.
Yeah, I'm expecting Billy to be on something carry-oriented at this point just because they have the... Ooh. Very surprised by that one, but I highly doubt it's going to get picked in.
No, that's... This would be really interesting. This would be entirely based around the Caitlyn comp right now, so they need that extra damage source, and that is going to be a LeBlanc coming in the mid lane. They're trusting that Luno doesn't really have anything that can punish a LeBlanc in his kit. Generally, you want to go for a Lissandra into LeBlanc. You want to go for something that can survive the laning phase and not really have that much all-in potential on it. So
yeah, exactly. You want to have that hard CC.
It pretty much has to be Lissandra.
Exactly, because that's one of the only champions that can actually stand against the LeBlanc in the mid lane and just trying to basically hold their own. Just you always have the Frozen Tomb, you always have your W as well, just to root Bailey in place on that LeBlanc. So that gives you a little bit of an easier time in the laning phase.
So they really need to get Jace ahead of this game, because what Jace wants to do is become a split pusher in the side lane, but he's not going to be split pushing against Sion. Sion's going to be part of the 4-man unit. Once Jace starts to get a lead, he's going to be a side lane against LeBlanc. If they can start forcing a 1-3-1, however, that's where it really starts becoming an issue, where you've got Jace and Lissandra in a side lane, and the 3-man unit of Xayah, Thresh, Xin Zhao. Yeah, that's got the all-in potential. It's got the ability to disengage as well as engage. So the Xayah is going to be safe to farm mid, while the two side lanes just win out. So if Lissandra and Jace get an advantage, that's the crux for Derby. However, UoL9 want to run them over in the early game.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of stands in line with the type of composition that you would like to see from the side of UoL9. This is something that they always stuck with, the 1-3-1, or later on going to the 1-4 split push. You just always want to have that someone split pushing. And if you have someone like Bailey on that LeBlanc, and if Jace, as you said, doesn't get ahead, then it's going to be very difficult for the side of University of Derby to hold their own against the constant pressure that's going to come up from the side of UoL9 in the later stages of the game here. So you need the early aggression, I believe, from Casper. You need, as you said, to get Jace ahead, and you need to be able to kind of stop any looming pressure from LeBlanc. You need to stop Bailey from being allowed to roam to other lanes as well to try and get a lead.
1-3-1 is generally considered the most optimal way to play the game right now, but Jace, not really considered an optimal champion, so I really need to see Fist show up in the top lane and put pressure on the Fat Boy here, because Sion, known for just winning out lane regardless of who's against him, known for being able to just clear so easily, just have a fully charged Q on the wave and then back off regardless of taking 50 or so damage and become that massive tank that wins in the late game fight. So if Jace can have pressure on him early, if we see Xin Zhao able to get a couple ganks off top, that's what Jace desperately needs to become the split pusher. Otherwise, he's held fairly easily in a side lane. He doesn't have TP, so he's not going to be able to join those fights. So it becomes the idea of, do they want to just go for the 4-1 with Jace as part of the 4-man unit and have Lissandra try and side lane against Sion? Because that's the point. Whereas an issue, you can get collapsed on very easily by the duo of Trilip and Beely, who are very mobile.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I want to actually touch on is I'm curious as to what the sign is going to be going for runes-wise, because usually, of course, you have three options as a sign. You can either go with a Glacial Augment, you can go with Arcane Comet, or you can actually go with Grasp of the Undying. Now, I'm not too sure about what he's going to go against the Jace. It might be a Glacial Augment, get the slow, maybe have a little bit more pressure in the lane so you don't allow the Jace to kind of
There's not really going to be an opportunity for him to proc Grasp, and the Glacial Augment would mean that he's going to be rushing for the Righteous Glory, so I feel like he's going to be going for the Comet if he wants to survive lane easier. The Glacial Augment's much more oriented towards team fights, but he has to acknowledge that he is going to be a side laner. So I think the Arcane Comet's probably the better option this game.
Would be, as you said, the best option here. Well, 40 seconds there from jumping into the game. Maybe just touch on a little bit towards Rakan and Caitlyn in the bottom lane. What do we think is going to happen in this bot lane matchup with the Xayah and Thresh?
So they want to be pressuring out. Yeah, they want to be pressuring out the Xayah Thresh. They want to be utilizing Caitlyn's bonus attack range to try and force Xayah back. But Xayah does, of course, have those long-range feathers, which she's going to be trying to utilize the wave flip back the way. I think one of the biggest things Thresh could do, which would make him able to win this lane, is actually go Relic Shield and be able to clear those melee minions off much easier to stop them being pushed in as hard. If he goes Coin, it's generally the more standard start on Thresh to go Coin because of the bonus CDR, but I think the Coin would just lead them to being pushed in under tower the entire game, and that gives them priority bot. They already have priority mid, and then not that much priority top lane. So if you don't want 3 lanes with priority and a Lee Sin, if you're playing as Xin Zhao, so I think you really need to go for that Relic Shield.